Hi, so we're back with another row problem example. I had asked on my Instagram page at Miss.McIntosh Teaches Math for you to try this problem. So it was a Try Me Thursday yesterday. So hopefully somebody had tried to solve this problem. If not, I am going to go through that today. So our problem says, Josh went to the bookstore and bought a math workbook. While at the bookstore, Josh had bought a second book that he thought would help with his math skills for $55. The price of the second book was $5 less than 3 times the price of the first book. How much did Josh pay for the first book he got? And before we start trying to solve this, first we got to understand what exactly they're asking. And to help us break down word problems, a strategy we can use is the cubes method, where C stands for circle the important numbers. So as we go through this, first thing I'm going to do is circle key numbers. So we have $55 is how much his second book had cost. And we have this number here. It says $5 less than 3 times. Then we have this number here. And our question is, how much did Josh pay for the first book he got? So we circled important numbers, underline the questions, and we box in keywords. And a keyword in here is less than and 3 times. Because less than implies that we're subtracting something. And 3 times implies that we are multiplying a number. Okay, and of course, this would help is knowing what's the second book and then what's the first book. And we want to know how much is the first book. Okay, so now that we got our information, or we broke down our information, I'm going to clear this. And then we're going to try to work it out. Put all the information together and work this problem out. So it said that, so we want to find the first book. And the first book is unknown. I'm going to call the first book a variable A. So the first book is going to be A. And a second book, I'm going to call that variable B. So I'm going to use these variables for my first book and my second book. My first book will be called A, and my second book will be called B. Okay? And so it says, Josh went to the bookstore and bought a math workbook. While at the bookstore, Josh had bought a second book that he thought would help with his math skills for $55. So we know that the second book, the price of the second book was $55. Okay. And we know that the price of the second book was $5 less. So you know that the price of the second book. So first, we're going to start off with B. So it says the second book is pretty much equal to, let me get my eraser because that, okay. So yeah, B is equal to 55. And I need to get off the eraser, which is not letting me. There we go. Okay, so we got B is equal to $55. So the second book is $55. And it says the price of the second book was $5 less. We got $5 less than means we're subtracting 3 times the price of the first book, and the first book is A. So this would be our equation. $55 is equal to 3 times A minus $5. So in other words, the price of the second book is equal to $5 less than 3 times the first book. I know that sounded like a mouthful, which is why we use different types of strategies to break down the word problem so that we can be able to form an equation that can help us solve for what the question is asking for, which in this case is we're trying to find how much was the first book, the price of the first book. So now that we got our equation, we just have to solve for A. So to begin, what we want to do is we want to isolate this variable. So we could start by adding 5 to both sides, because since we're subtracting here, to isolate this variable, you have to get rid of this. So that is canceled out, and we get 55 plus 5 is equal to 60, just $60. So $60 is equal to 3 times the price of the first book. And now all we have to do is divide by 3 to get A by itself, which stands for the price of the first book. And then 3 cancels out on this side. And then 60 divided by 3 is equal to 20. And you can also do long division if you needed to. 3 goes into 6 2 times. 3 times 0 is 6, minus 6, 0. And then 3 goes into 0 0 times. So we end up with the price of the first book is equal to $20. And that is our answer. So please feel free to leave any comments or questions or suggestions on what you might want to see worked out in our next problems or next video. And again, thank you so much for watching, and see you in the next one.